everybody, it's Chef Cleva, and on today's episode we're going to make a dessert that is chocolatey, sweet, fluffy, and creamy. Yes. Today we are going to make ice cream sandwiches with homemade ice cream and homemade chocolate chip cookies. Let's get started. Alright everybody, it's time to get your pen and paper and your photographic memory together because these are the ingredients for your homemade ice cream. For your ice cream base, you're going to need 10 ounces of half and half, 4 egg yolks, 10 ounces of heavy cream, 2 teaspoons of vanilla, a pinch of salt, and 4 ounces of granulated sugar. Alright guys, so for this episode, while we make our ice cream sandwiches, I'm going to talk about the time where my teacher was drunk and it ended up giving me a good grade. So for those of you who may or may not know, I went to school in Manhattan for specifically pastry arts. Yes, there's a difference. When you say I'm going to school for cooking, there's a difference between culinary and pastry. So I went to school for pastry arts in Manhattan. And while I was there, I met and I learned from some amazing people. And, you know, I met some people too in my class, and it was just a really amazing year all around. So the first teacher I had, we're going to call him Chef Chuck, just in case other people are listening and watching. So he was such a great teacher. I believe he's still there. And so we went through we had them in mods. So we had 4 mods. So our first mod was basically an introduction. We learned a lot of basic skills. We learned about, the importance of ingredients, that sort of thing. So it came down to our final. And I truly believe that when you are going to a school that you feel will be your career choice, exams are they put you in a different mind space. When you think about it, it's like, okay, this is a school that I have chosen. It's a career path I have chosen. So it's almost like you want every exam you take or every lesson you learn to really count towards helping you grow and improve in your career path. So for this exam, for the final, we had to make a creme anglaise. So now a creme anglaise has the same components as the ice cream base that we're making in this video. But I want to say, I'm trying to remember because it was so long ago, but I want to say we had at least maybe 16 students, including myself, maybe 16, 17 students in the entire class. So we all had to get our own burners, that sort of thing. But now the funny thing was Chef Chuck, he came in and he basically let us know that he went out the night before. I think he had a bachelor party the night before, and he was basically hungover. Chef Chuck also explained that he was gonna call out, but he realized it was our final and he didn't have any classes after hours. So his plan of action was to just power through our final exam and then go home and die in peace because he was really hungover. He clearly was doing too much the night before, and you can kind of see it in his face. He looked like he had a stomach bug, but it wasn't a stomach bug, it was a hungover bug. Now that we've established that our teacher was a little, hungover, we're like, okay, fine, let's just get this situation situated. We'll get through this exam and then we'll all go home. Cool. So now with creme anglaise, you're basically doing the tempering technique. And it's so important that you do this properly. You kind of take your time because like with most tempering, especially when it comes to eggs, you do not want these eggs to scramble, which is what I keep emphasizing in the last few videos that I mentioned where we were doing egg tempering. So all of us got our supplies from the refrigerators. We had so many burners in the class that day, because sometimes, when we're just doing a regular lesson, we'll break up into groups and teams and we'll share this, that, and the third. But it was our final exam, so there wasn't really a lot of time to quote unquote waste waiting for someone to do it, X, Y, and Z. Plus, I think he also wanted all of us to be on the same page, so that way it wouldn't be like I just saw such and such do it this way, I'm gonna change the way I do it for when it's my turn, that sort of thing. So we're all started at the same time, got our ingredients at the same time. We all had our own burners, that sort of thing. So it's pretty much just us all alone, do or die, get into it. We also noticed that every so often our teacher, Chef Chuck, would leave the classroom and come back. So we were we're not confused. We're just like, what's going on? Is everything okay? I don't think he told everyone. I don't believe he announced it, but I do believe he told a few of us, myself included, because I believe, if I remember correctly, my burner was closest to the door of the classroom. So he would come back and we're like, hey, is everything okay? And he would tell us that he's excusing himself to leave the classroom every so often because he needed to throw up. Like, that is how bad it was. And we're all like, dude, you are really dying right now. Like, you really want us to finish this exam so you can go home and die in peace. I'm, watching my pot, trying to make sure I don't, because I'm seriously on some, I don't want to fail, it's my first exam in pastry art school, oh my god, I gotta do good, blah, blah, blah. Like typical honors kid mental breakdown, but on the inside. So I am stirring the pot, I'm doing what I gotta do, reading over I'm like, when I tell you I was going over that recipe so many times on the paper, even though all the ingredients were already in the pot, I was still looking at that recipe like, I put this in there, I put that in there, okay, everything's in there, da da da. Like, seriously, we were all hot messes. So this was literally our first culinary pastry arts exam. And then I saw my biggest fear was right in front of me, and I saw it, and I was like about to cry. I was like, oh my god, I totally messed it up. It was then, I don't even know what made me really look at it. I was looking at my pot, because basically you have to stir it until it thickens up enough, and then it coats the back of a spoon. So I'm just stirring and stirring. I really want this thing to work, and that sort of, I'm in that mindset. But then I realized that my creme anglaise has now scrambled. And so I'm sitting there panicking because I'm thinking, how am I going to fix this? Because you can't really fix it, you have to start over. But I knew if I had started over, that was a potential automatic failure, or it was even possibly points taken off. I had no idea what would have happened if Chef Chuck realized that I scrambled my creme anglaise. But I then realized I wasn't the only one who did that. I have no idea how we managed to pull this off. Me and a couple other students whose creme anglaise is also scrambled, we timed it perfectly, and we waited for Chef Chuck to go to the bathroom to upchuck his life, and we all somehow managed to redo our ingredients, redo the pots. I don't even know where we threw our bad creme anglaise out. We probably threw it in the garbage in the sink. I don't know. We threw it out, managed to redo the entire recipe, and that's the only recipe he saw. So we ended up passing with A's and whatnot, because all he saw was the perfect creme anglaise that we made. And that is how my teacher, having a wild night, landed me with a perfect grade for my first pastry arts final.
All right, everybody, that is a wrap on our ice cream sandwich episode. Let me know how yours turned out. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share. Ring that little bell so that way you are notified when the next episode is up and running. I'm Chef Cleva, and remember, everyone's a little curious.